There once was a grand monastery that stood atop a hill for many centuries. Its monks were renowned for their great wisdom, and people came from far and wide to seek their guidance and their prayers. Farmers came to the monks to ask them to pray for a good harvest. Couples came to ask them to pray for good weather on their wedding day. And young men joined that monastery in droves. For centuries, the monastery flourished and thrived. But over time, things began to change for the monastery. After many centuries of success and growth, eventually fewer and fewer people were making that journey up the hill to knock on the monastery's door. Fewer and fewer men came to join the monastery until eventually there was only a handful of monks left. And those monks all began to blame each other for the monastery's decline. "You talk too much, that's why no one comes here anymore," one monk said. "Well, you talk too little, that's why no one comes here anymore," another monk said. "And people simply don't like you, that's why no one comes here anymore," a third monk said. What had once been a very peaceful and harmonious place became a very dark and bitter place. And the head abbot of the monastery didn't know what to do. He was racking his brain about how to save his beloved monastery until finally someone suggested that he go down to the village at the bottom of the hill and speak to the wise rabbi who lived there. Maybe he would have a suggestion about how to save the monastery. So the abbot went to see the rabbi, and when he got to the rabbi's home, he said, "Rabbi, my monastery's falling apart. Our numbers are declining, everyone's fighting, it's just a complete disaster." And the rabbi said, "Yeah, I know, I've heard." And by the way, he could have said, "That sounds just like my synagogue," but he didn't say that. Instead, the rabbi said to the abbot, "I'm sorry. I wish I had better advice for you. I don't know how to save your monastery, but I do know one thing. One of the monks living at your monastery is the Messiah." And the abbot found that to be very interesting. He went back and he told the monks that one of them was the Messiah. And almost instantly, everything changed. The monks began to look at one another differently. They started treating each other with kindness and respect because any one of them might be the Messiah and they didn't know which one it was. And as soon as they started treating each other with kindness and respect, the monastery regained its sense of peace and tranquility. And soon enough, people were flocking back in droves to join the monastery again. And once again, it flourished and it thrived. But the truth is, nothing about the monastery had really changed. All that had changed was the way that people thought about one another. What changed was their perspective. Instead of thinking the worst about each other, they found the divine potential in each other. And that simple shift in perspective changed everything. Our tradition teaches us that the Messiah could be anyone. It could even be you. But if it's not you, it could be the person sitting next to you, in front of you, behind you. It could be anyone in this sanctuary at this very moment. And if we all lived our lives with that perspective, if we truly believe that and embrace that worldview, then we would have the power to change the world. As we begin this new year, we remember that we are all created B'Tselem Elohim. We are all created in the image of God. The divine potential for greatness lies within each and every one of us. And that simple perspective and that change in perspective has the power to change the world. Shana Tova.